I would like to try. Okay, so you can pick any book from the trolley. Why wouldn't he? I finished the board so I can pick a pretty edition of a favorite classic. Hi, I'm Milena. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to March TBR board. I'm going to keep on going with the board on the place that we ended up in January. I did finish my entire January TBR, even though it took me a little bit of February as well to read the books. If you're new here, I usually do TBR board every month. All the rules and the playlist to the other videos are in the description down below if you first want to have a little bit of a browse before we start the video. But the gist of it is that I made the TBR board and then I use it to decide my reading every month. I do 6 throws every month. Sometimes because of a certain prompt I have to throw 7 times, but that has only happened once. I get one live if the prompt really doesn't fit me very well, because I either have to pick a genre, pick a card, or pick a genre and a card, and sometimes when I have to pick a genre and a card it just really doesn't match and I get one live to throw again. I have 2 book club reads for this month. The first one is for the Bronte long, which is Agnes Grey by M. Bronte, and I have My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier for the Dutch Classics Book Club, so I hope I can fit them into the TBR board, because otherwise I may have to read 8 books in March. I don't really want to, so let's just start the TBR board and see where it brings us this month. Okay, last time we ended right here with the historical fiction with a TBR card, so let's do the first roll. A 1, a pick a card. Boyfriend pick. Oh, I need to ask boy to pick a book for me. Okay, so you can pick any book from the trolley from the second or bottom layer, because those are all my unread books.
Deze vond je wel interessant, toch? Een beetje.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to influence your choice.
Oké. Murakami is wel lastig, denk ik. Een lastig boek.
I'm not going to say anything. You can turn it on the other side as well. There are books on the other side as well.
Deze is wel mooi. Okay, well, this one then. Yeah.
Yes, okay,
Have
thank
you read it?
Yeah, I am. Well, this will be 2 Victorian novels in 1 month. But
yeah. Okay.
I do like it.
Okay.
Okay, so the first prompt was a TBR card, which was boyfriend pick. So I asked Boy, who is my boyfriend, to pick a book for me, and he picked a book from the trolley, and of course he went with a chunky classic, because why wouldn't he? It's not like I already have 2 chunky classics book club reads, of course not, so we can easily add another one in the mix for the same month, why not? It's Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy, and to be honest, this one has been on my TBR for too long. I bought it I think 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago now, so it needed to be read, and since I love Tess of the Dureville so much, this really is necessary, this really needs to happen, and I'm really excited for it as well. I did, for a first chapter challenge, read the first chapter, loved it right away. I also really love the film with Carey Mulligan, so I know I will like the story. So this is about a woman called Bathsheba, and she inherits a farm, and as a woman she really wants to just rule the farm herself, but of course many difficulties arise, many romances arise, and I adore the romances in the film, and I know that in the book there's a bigger focus on the romance but has a smaller role in the film that I didn't love, so I'm a bit scared for that, but I know who she's going to end up with, and I know that I love that romance. So in the end all is well, but who knows how this journey is going to go. I might listen to this on audio because I have the book club reads as well. I'm just excited for my next Thomas Hardy because it's been too long. It's been too long since I read Thomas Hardy. Okay, and the second row is a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another bigger card. Newest purchase. So the second prompt was another TBR card, which was Newest purchase, which is actually perfect because this book is on its way to me right now, and that is My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier. That is a book club read in the TBR board, which I'm really pleased with. We have read from Daphne du Maurier with the book club before. We read Rebecca, of course, her most famous novel, and we decided we wanted some repeat authors we really loved. And a lot of people said they wanted to read My Cousin Rachel. I think it is quite similar to Rebecca in themes. I am not super looking forward to, but Daphne du Maurier's writing is just great and so suspenseful and so layered and ambiguous that I am really looking forward to reading another Daphne du Maurier. What I know of this story because I've seen the film years ago, which was really good by the way. The film is about a young man who meets his cousin Rachel again. I think after her husband has died, and he is trying to discover whether she had something to do with it. That's all I know. Maybe that's just the film, maybe it's not the book. I knew very little about Rebecca going in and I loved that. So I really want to do the same with my cousin Rachel. So I already know too much from having watched the film, so I'm not going to do any blurb reading or read any reviews of my cousin Rachel. I just want to go in there and see what happens. But yes, that one is on its way to me right now, so I'm going to count it as my newest purchase. Roll number 3. 3. 1, 2, 3. So a classic before 1900. Roll number 3 was a genre roll, and this was a classic before 1900. And we are going perfectly because of course that means I can put Agnes Grey for that prompt. Now I have read Agnes Grey before in 2019 or maybe early 2020. I'm not really sure anymore. I really loved it and I had so many thoughts and feelings on this because this is Anne Bronte's first novel, a very autobiographical story of her time as a governess with 2 different families. Especially the first family created so many feelings for me and I started to really feel attached to the second family. So I'm really curious to see how I feel about a reread, especially because I've now read more of the Brontes. I really am curious to see how I can place this within all of their writing, and I've now also read the other novel by Anne Bronte, which is The Tenant of Whitewell Hall, so I'm really curious to see how those two correlate together. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Bronte Long. All the information on the Bronte Long is in the description down below if you want to join us. Roll number 4. 6. So 1, and then move over here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which is another big card, but also I finished the board so I can pick a pretty edition of a favorite classic, which is very exciting. But first, let's pick the 4th prompt, Gifted. So the 4th roll was another TBR card, which was Gifted, so a book that I got as a gift. And I had many choices because my friends and you guys are just wonderful and so incredibly kind. But I decided to go for a birthday gift from last year. Mary from Mary Among Stories gifted me for my birthday Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. This was one of her favorite books of 2021, so when she released that video, this one was even higher up on my TBR. And thank you so much, Mary, for this book. I know that it's about 2 men who fall in love in Paris. It's what I believe from Mary talking about the book. When David meets the sensual Giovanni in a bohemian bar, he is swept into a passionate love affair. But his girlfriend's return to Paris destroys everything. Unable to admit the truth, David presents the liaison never happened, while Giovanni's life descends into tragedy. So it's such a thin novel for such a big theme. It is about 150 pages, so it helps that it's a bit of a shorter novel with the 2 Victorian classics that are on this TBR already. But it's also just a book I really want to read, and thank you so much, Mary, for the gift. Roll number 5. 1, 2, 3. A contemporary. Roll number 5 was a genre roll, and that is a contemporary. I do have a few more options that I did in January because I got and bought some more books. I think to spice up this TBR a little bit, I wanted something fun and something a bit easier. So I'm going to put a contemporary romance on the TBR, and this is Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper. I read The Ex-Hex last year. I really loved the idea of that book, but I didn't really love how it was done. And I believe that this has a very similar storyline. So it's about these women who are witches, and it's about the main character and her ex and them having to solve something. I believe it's very similar. It both has that kind of storyline, but I hope the writing in this one is just a little bit better, especially in how the romance is written. Didn't love that in the Ex-Hex, and I've heard that this one is supposed to be a bit better, so I'm already looking forward to just diving into this and having a great time. And the final roll number 6, is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A Virginia Woolf book. Roll number 6 was on one of my backlist author styles. So I have 3 of these styles. I have Virginia Woolf, which is the one we landed on. I have Jane Austen and Toni Morrison. I created these styles to hopefully help me read all of their novels, which is just a lifetime reading goal of mine. So I'm pretty pleased that we landed on another author. I did recently read quite a bit by Virginia Woolf, so I don't really feel like picking up another one of her novels, so I decided to pick up some of her essays. Last year I read The Common Common Reader Volume 1 and I also purchased the Common Reader Volume 2, just haven't read it yet. So that is what I'm going to do this month. I'm going to read the Common Reader Volume 2. These are essays published by Virginia Woolf, mainly about literature and about other authors. It's also sometimes about the culture of reading and about feminism. This is the second collection and it's quite a thick one. It has 22 essays, so that is really quite a lot. I don't know if I can get through all of these in March because it's quite a challenging TBR, a lot of classics. I would like to try, but definitely if I'm looking at the Milena Reads as well, I'm not going to force myself to finish all of these, but at least to read the first few. I just find Virginia Woolf's take on other authors so incredibly interesting. And I did already see Thomas Hardy, George Gissing on who she writes, Jane Austen as well. So I'm already really interested to see what she says about them, especially because I'm going to read Thomas Hardy as well this month. So this is this month's TBR with, of course, My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier as well. I always get a little bit intimidated when there are so many classics on my TBR, but I know that I will enjoy it. I know I will love it. I know that audiobooks will help me like they always do. I mean, I'm definitely going to find an audiobook for Far from the Running Crowd and maybe also Giovanni's Room, because I feel like both those stories will translate well for me personally into audio. These two I don't have audiobooks for, Payback's Witch and the Common Reader Volume 2, so I definitely need to read those physically. And Agnes Grey I want to annotate. My Cousin Rachel I also want to read physically, I think. So that is my plan for March. If you want to go along on this reading journey with me, then don't forget to subscribe so you can watch some reading vlogs, possibly a wrap up at the end of the month. If you've read any of these books and if you think I'm really going to love it, then please let me know, because I want to feel incredibly hyped when I start my TBR at the first of the month. For now, I hope that you have a lovely day or evening and I hope to see you in another video. Doei!